call it to order. Beth, can we have a roll call, please?
Steve,
Here.
Brad,
Here.
Corey.
Here.
Shanda's absent. David,
Here.
and Barry's also absent.
All right, first item is June 20th minutes. Entertain a motion of approval.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Steve,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes?
David.
Yes.
Okay, financials?
The financial report is attached in the packet. I don't have a whole lot to add to it. Oil revenue, for the month was, we've been hovering around that $4,700 mark, which is down substantially from the past couple years. And then this past month it was 4,200. So we're still sitting in that 4,000 range, with that oil revenue. Otherwise, as far as, just as far as our camping numbers are just, that online reservation system has made just such a huge difference. It's so nice to be able to have people come and go the way they do. I think it's giving people so much more of an opportunity to camp, and we're just getting so much more usage because of it. So many more people that are going out for 1 or 2 nights now, as opposed to before feeling like they needed to take their camper out for a week to make it worthwhile because I got to get there early and get my spot. And so all across the board, again, Epping's still struggling along a little. Everyone else will be in the next couple. Blacktail, Little Egypt, and Coda Ray in the next 2-3 weeks will pass its budgeted mark for the year. So way ahead of schedule. Epping is lagging behind a little, but otherwise, we got those trucks purchased from. We got the 2 trucks purchased from the weed board, so we got that done. So other than that, and we just wrote a check or a purchase order for the buoys at Epping. So that'll be coming out soon. Otherwise, financially, nothing big coming out just quite yet.
Okay. Any questions from the board for finances? All right, looks like no new business. Discussion items, construction manager.
I did hand out a sheet. We'll talk a little bit about where we're at, and we had our first meeting. But before we do that, Karen was on vacation prior to our last board meeting, and according to Century Code, we have to approve the use of the CMAR as stated in that sheet I handed out to you. So if I'm looking for someone to make a motion to approve us using CMAR in those terms.
I'll make that a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, second.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Discussion?
Brad,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
That's all right. I called for discussion twice.
Never mind.
I was gonna say roll call. All right,
Okay, thank you, guys. We did have our first meeting. Our committee, our selection committee for our construction manager at risk is David. David from this organization, Burton Youngs for our architect, Katie Solvac for our engineer, and Mark Barstead as our contractor. We did meet once. David did mention that when we have committees like this, we pay them. Is that an action we need to make as a board, or is that just something we do? I wasn't sure about that. Okay, yep. So that's something that David has said that they've done before when we've done these kind of things, but we will need some type of motion. And I know, like, I don't know any first time through, so I don't know how much we get paid, if it's the same as our board members get paid for a meeting, or
Yeah, I mean,
it's,
whenever we have committees, it's usually the same amount we pay everybody else, $100 per meeting.
Okay. Yeah, and I looked it up, it's mileage if you have to travel more than 10 miles from out of town for it or whatever.
Well, just to clarify too, it's obviously the members that aren't excluding myself, yourself,
And Lindsay,
and Lindsay.
yes.
It's
So
just the two, it'd be Mark or the three. So
Burton, Mark. and
just want to
Pete.
clarify that for the record.
Yep. Yep. And so we know, I mean, we're looking at, after we've had our first meeting here, we're looking at, probably 3 more meetings. We've already set the schedule up. We do have, if we need a fourth, there's a possibility it could be, but I don't think so. We went through our meeting and did a good job of, setting up a timeline and putting our meeting dates down, and we've already sent out invites for all those meetings. So we have as long as everything goes to plan, we have everything scheduled between here and then hopefully October when we make our final decision on this.
Mr. Chairman, we just need a motion to pay the members is that what you need?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say, I'll make a motion that we'll pay the non-board members and
And staff.
staff for the meetings that will be coming up for the CMAR.
I second it.
Okay. Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
That's a good idea. Following the guidelines already established for what is paid to other board members.
Yep.
Okay.
Does that work, Karen? Okay.
Brad, you're all right with that description?
That's, yes.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Oh, gosh. Corey,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
All right, thank you, guys. Like I said, we did have our first meeting last week. I think it went really well. We did get everything accomplished we had on our agenda, which was basically set our schedule and then set our selection process. So we're ready to rock and roll with moving forward with our construction manager at risk.
Good. Any other questions for there? Guess we'll move into parks update.
I think before we talk about any specific parks, maybe we'll just talk about how everything's going overall. It's always a big push to get through 4th of July. I think that everything went better than last year. I think every year we've gotten a little bit better. There were a couple hiccups along the way. Again, going back to the My Sites thing, we have 57. We have right around, right over 100 sites available to be reserved online. And we had over 60 of them turn over between June 30th and July 5th. So on that by that Friday, which was the 1st, we were full in every campground, and then we had, so I guess the 1st, and we had almost 60% turnover. Most of them left on Sunday, the 3rd, but we had quite a few that also left on July 4th, and so that was daunting going into, but went really well. We did a good job. My guys did a good job. It actually helped me with the 4th of July being during the week, because my guys are used to working during the week, so it was no big deal. Sunday was a little bit more of a push for me to make sure and get out and get around and get it to everyone and make sure people that are supposed to be out were out. And then on Tuesday, the 4th, my guys worked and they went through and cleaned up because and they worked Monday too. And so they were out cleaning fireworks and cleaning trash every morning. But then also they did a good job going through the sites and getting people, hey, thanks for staying. Checkout time's 2:00. So they did a good job of that. And then also on July 5th, going through and cleaning. So it was kind of, you know, looking at it, leading up to it, it was kind of daunting. So it kind of felt like running a hotel a little bit. But it was, because it was a lot of people to get in and out and worry about, oh, I thought we could stay longer and those kind of things. So, of everything that went through the 4th, that's what I'm most pleased about with how well that went and with how good of a job my guys did cleaning up afterwards. I mean, they were on it every morning, going through and picking up garbages. We did have some hiccups on the 4th of July. A dumpster started on fire at Blacktail. Luckily, there was Tanner from the highway department was camping across the street from it. He's a volunteer fireman, and he was on it, and he had rallied other people. And I know they called the Granora Fire Department, and I believe they came down, but they had it out long before they got there. It was pretty impressive fire, though. I mean, they called me. I was out there, and they called me about 12:30, and I came out. It was, I mean, I don't know. A dumpster is what, 4 or 5 feet high. Those flames were well over 10, 15 feet high. I mean, it was going. So that the problems with the shower and the shower, I've had plumbers and electricians out multiple times trying to get the shower right at Blacktail. Thought they had it fixed before the 4th, and then did have it fixed, and then it didn't work. And did have a couple issues with people showing up and taking sites without a reservation. But my camp host did a really good job, and just planning ahead by at Blacktail and Little Egypt, I held a couple sites back, just like 2 sites at Blacktail and 1 at Little Egypt that I kept blocked off. So, when those things happened, I was able to slide some people in and move some people around. We had a couple issues with some people that reserved sites that were from a ways away, and then they got here and their 44-foot toy hauler didn't quite fit there, and we had to move some people around. But again, we for the most part didn't have anything too bad. I think everybody went away pretty happy with how everything worked out. So I think, like I said, every year we've gotten a little bit better with the 4th of July. Glad it's over. Now it's kind of a different phase for us. It seems like it's a big push just to get all the camping right until we get there, and now we start doing some other things. We've already, since then, we'll kind of phase into there. The guys have already cleared up that whole path. We're looking at building that trail all the way around, but we had to get through the trees down at the teardrop off Reclamation Drive on your way to the beach at Blacktail. Guys finished up that path going through, so that's going to be pretty nice when we get that done. Going to start working on a little picnic area in there as well. Got the fishing pier back and put back where it in. After multiple tries with different cranes and wind and campers causing issues, we finally got that back in the water and then back set up. We have seen a lot of water drop down, so all of our boat landings we've had to go through and readjust and put them all down, reset. Blacktail, we're doing a good job keeping up at mowing. The golf course needs to be mowed right now. We have 2 mowers break down yesterday. So but the golf course is where we're at mowing. Otherwise, Blacktail. Mike, I don't know. Mike Herring, who was the association president, passed away a couple days before the 4th of July. So, that's a big loss to their association, big loss to that community out there. But they have their Chuck Huber, who I'm familiar with. He has now taken over that role as far as their interim association president until they have an election or they decide what to do. And I know Chuck really well, so shouldn't miss a beat there. Sorry for Mike and his family. I know, like I said, he cared a lot about that place. He put a lot into Blacktail, and it's going to be it'll be noticed out there. He put a lot of effort into there. Otherwise, I think that's it for Blacktail. Epping Springbrook Dam. Those buoys should be here. The guy told me he was looking at a ship date of August 5th. So middle of next month, we'll get them in. They send a guy out included in the cost. They send a guy out to help us install it and teach us how to do it and do all that for the first time. And then we'll know how to take them out and then put them back in next spring. So sometime in August, he'll be out here doing that. We'll get those installed. Otherwise, honestly, the water looks a lot better. than it had 3 weeks ago. I'm still going out and doing water sampling with the Game and Fish and Soil Conservation. I went out last week and compared to 3 weeks ago, you couldn't even. I don't remember what they're called, but there's those discs that are black and white, and you put them down. They have a name for them, but you drop them down. It's a circle this big, and it's black and white, and in the four corners, and you drop it down in the water just to test visibility. And I went when I went 3 weeks ago, and we dropped it down. Visibility was less than 18 inches to see this disc, and it was because it was just not the blue-green algae, just the regular green algae was just so thick. Like as soon as you put it in, it looked like, I don't know, it looked almost like spongy. It was so much of it, you know. And so then we went back last week and did it, and I mean, just from looking, you could see that it was, I mean, nowhere near what it had been like the 3 weeks before. And then visibility was almost 4 feet, dropping that thing down. So I think that hot weather really got us early on. And then I think we had a little wind last week too, or the week before, that kind of blew things around and mixed it up where we'd been pretty stagnant for a while. So just interesting. Excited to get those things in here. Excited, been talking to the guys, and just they do a lot of satellite technology too, without the buoys, with just reading hot temperatures and being able to do that. So it's been interesting learning that stuff, working with them, preparing to come bring that equipment in. Otherwise, Epping, I mean, other than the water, Epping looks really good. The guys have done, my crew have done a good job of keeping it clean and keeping up. Compared to years past, I've had no problems. We've had a lot of problems in the past with transients trying to live there, questionable people just causing problems out there. This year, knock on wood, at Epping has been really smooth. So that's good. Little Egypt, guys just finished going through and fixing a lot of the fence line. Fence line had started to fall down and got worn. So they went through and redid the whole, started at the beginning, walked the whole thing, and just restrung it where it needed to be. Something that we've known we needed to do for a while now. So they got after that and got that done. Otherwise, it's Little Egypt's just full. Like right now, if you go look at our reservation system for this weekend, I mean, Blacktail's maybe 20% reserved out. Epping and Coteray probably have 2 or 3 reservations each for this coming weekend, and Little Egypt's 90% full. You go look at the weekends going forward, it's like that. No one else is making really advanced reservations, I mean, in big numbers at any of the parks except Little Egypt. You look at Little Egypt, every weekend is a good amount of reservations, already people planning ahead and wanting to be out there. Although the water is really high, I don't know how much people have been down and looking at Lake Sakakawea. Water is really high. We don't have much of a beach right now compared to what it's been. And the water we do have, and the beach we do have is really tree covered. When you walk out, when you walk out of the park, you really should go to the east because right there you get more towards that Hoffland Bay area, and there is some sand down that way a little bit more. But if you walk out right in front of our park, it's all pretty waist high foliage. So you have to walk through it to get right to the water, and even right at the water there isn't much sand. But they said the water's still going to come up a little bit more. Hopefully it's only a little bit more, and hopefully they let a little out before too long. That's it.
Just curious,
Fine line.
Jeremy, if I may, do you ever get any feedback from the Corps? Do they ever walk through the park when it's?
We have our annual inspection on I think it's the 31st of this month. So we'll go down on the 31st. We have a meeting early in the spring I go to down in Riverdale where they meet with all of the property managers. I can't think of the term they use, but all the property managers, we go down and meet with all of them in our area of the lake, and then they come through for their annual inspection the end of this month. And so
I was just more curious if they actually go out there when the place is being used, as far as campers, and so they know that they can see physically of how well it's being used.
Yep, once a year we have an inspection out there, and they come out and they send people both from Fort Peck and from Riverdale to meet, and the local guy. We meet out and walk through. It's normally on a Monday during the day, so it's not like, a busy camping time, but they still come through. They're, yeah, like I said, they're, I don't know, interesting to work with.
Do they won't let you clear the beach of the vegetation, right?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. They will let me, they'll let me, in the past, they've let me remove driftwood and burn it on the beach, as long as I notify them of when I'm doing it. But I can't use any equipment to move any of the wood. So, no, that's not true. He did tell me I could take a Bobcat out, but not one with tracks. So that's, yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if he was just saying that to try to get me to do it and then laugh at me when we got stuck, or what he was thinking, but, yeah, no equipment. So basically, we're not allowed to take any equipment out, but we could move firewood into a pile and burn it if we wanted, but I don't know. Be a lot of work for not a lot. I'd rather just drag the firewood into the lake and hope it goes further downstream.
Well, Lewis and Clark years ago, we did have a excavator out on the beach, and we did pull up stumps and did all that kind of work. They did. So if you work at them long enough, they eventually break down. But yeah, we got that thing stuck in the mud too, so, with tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Ours right now is just that vegetation because the lake's been down for a few years now. That vegetation has gotten pretty high in the sand, and it's, like I said, waist high everywhere around there. Now with the water being up and covering all that beach, like I said, it's not going to stop people from using it. Oh my gosh, the best path is to go a little further to the east, and it's still nice. I mean, it's still really nice. So we'll see. Hopefully, they don't fill it all the way up like it was a decade ago. Still working on Lookout Park. Not much to report on Lookout Park or McGregor or Coda Ray. They're all been pretty busy though. I mean, we're running. Nathan has worked more up at McGregor than he ever has, and I mean, staying busy, just staying busy. Glad to get through the fourth. It's been a big push to get through to one now where we can start honing in on all our projects we're doing and start getting those done.
To have.
It definitely can. It's really small. We haven't had any blue-green algae or water quality issues recently, but it winter kills often because it's small and shallow. And so since I've been there, we haven't had blue-green algae issues, but talking to Game and Fish, it's one that it doesn't take nothing, where all of a sudden it's a couple years in a row they have that as well. But we haven't so far, and we didn't have winter kill the last 2 years. But it's because of how small it is and how shallow it is, definitely can.
What, on Lookout, has there been any more done on the courts?
No, I haven't, but I got to get it this year. I've got a couple different companies that are supposedly going to get me an estimate on what they can do and some ideas, but I haven't. Last month's been hard. I have to push harder just to get it, see if we can mud jack it or if we have to tear it out or what we have to do. It's not going to, all the expense isn't going to come on us, though. There's going to be the person that originally put it in is going to help us out with that. Mm-hmm. George, or who did the concrete? Where are they? Is it the Garcia brothers? I can't remember. Are they concrete people? Yeah. Garcia brothers.
So are they, I mean,
Between them and George, yeah.
yeah, I'm a little worried that as time goes by, it seems like those guys are hard. I don't know them personally, but contractors in general get tough to get to rate things.
Yes, they were hard to get out there in the first place. But George is less worried than I am, so makes me feel a little better because he works with them a lot. We didn't even, when we put it in, we didn't pay. George just wrote the check. It didn't even come through us, so.
Okay, anything else with the other two in Dakota Ray?
Yeah, Coda Ray looks good. It's, my camp host has been the same one we've had for 3 years now. The Sandbergs, they do a great job. They really only kind of stay out there more on the weekends. They're not there much during the week, but my guys are around there enough during the week that we take care of it. We did have, not that we have much, we shouldn't have had much, if any, money in there, but we did have, a week before, someone broke into the pay post. From what I could tell, there were maybe less than $50 in it, because did have a couple people that called me and set up tent camps and just dropped money in there. But someone did break off the lock and do that. That was actually something that happened a few times last year. Coda Ray. So we actually happened 3 times last year total, once at Coda Ray and twice at Epping, with people breaking off the locks and breaking into those things. So another reason why it's good to be going to that online payment system. But yeah, I don't know. Coda Ray is my favorite lake we have. Clean water, cleanest water in our area, and just a nice little lake. Always nice people that go down there, and seems to be really easy to go and fun to be at.
Anybody have any questions for parks? Concerns? Okay. Next meeting, August 15th. Guess if, Jeremy, you have anything else for us?
Nope, I don't think so. I think we're, like I said, I'm excited to get through the 4th. Now we get to focus on a lot of other stuff. Camping in the past, at least from here on out, has been a little more manageable. Everybody's kind of got that itch scratched, and everyone gets so jacked up for the 4th, and we've gotten through that. So, I guess the only thing I didn't mention was all our concerts we've had. We had four over the 4th of July week or something. Weather affected all of them, but didn't stop any of them. We had the first one was D. James played at Blacktail, and I guess that might have been right before our last meeting. And she got rained out at the end, got cut short. That was about June 17th or so. And then we had the bigger act that the oil field show, or a couple oil field companies sponsored and put on July 1st. And it was too bad about the weather, because it was crappy weather right up until the show started, and then it cleared up and it was awesome, and the crowd came in. I know Brad was there. Corey, were you there too? And it was, there's a good crowd. And then about 10 o'clock, it was supposed to go till 11, about 10:15, rain came down and it got cold and everyone left, and we called it good. It wasn't bad. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't bad for me either. Yeah, it made life for me easier too, because dispersed everyone and called it easy. But it was fun. And then the next night at Little Egypt, we had the Blue Stems. They're a really fun band, bluegrass band, a bunch of kids out of down southwestern North Dakota, south of Belfield. They do a really good job, and so we had a nice crowd for that. That went well, and then we came back with Josie and the Whalers the 4th of July at Blacktail. Again, same deal. Before the band started, it was kind of cold. And then the band came out and they played, and it was great all the way through. We had a nice crowd, and everything went well with that. And then, although in hindsight I would not do it on the 4th of July. With it being on a Tuesday like that, we had that band on Friday. I wish we would have did Josie on Saturday. That would have been the night to do it. With the 4th of July, I think it was just the end and everyone was getting tired. Yep. So, but it was still well attended. And then that was the 4th. And then on the 7th, we had Ted and Carrie out at Little Egypt. And I guess we didn't have bad weather there. That one was really nice. Had a good crowd. I watched the band from my kayak in the lake, so it was nice. They do a great job too. They're fantastic. So we've got through most of them. We do have 2 left. We have one at Coda Ray in the middle of August, and we have one at McGregor Labor Day weekend. So, like I said, we've had some weather issues, but nothing stopped them from playing. It's all gone pretty good.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Adjourn this meeting 9:31.
Corey, how much are you working at that state tournament? None? You're doing nothing? Do you want to? Okay.